I will say this Pentax 17, making this a challenge of, doing storytelling in each frame, side by side, it's making the Pentax 17 way more fun. Alright guys, I ordered the Pentax 17 when it very first came out, and it kind of dawned on me. I loaded up a roll of Portra 400 and I was like, wait a second, I have 72 frames that I need to get through before I can develop this roll. For my ADHD brain, that kind of killed all of the joy and fulfillment, because I was like, that's gonna take me a month to fill out. So I haven't used it since then. I shot about 12 frames on the first roll and I just wrapped it up early and just got it developed and called it a day. And then I put this up for sale. But then the other week, I was at Freestyle Photo picking up some film chemicals for developing, and I noticed there was a box of Kodak Gold 200 24 exposures. I didn't know Kodak was still making 24 exposures. So anyways, I picked a couple of those rolls up and I shot the first roll on my Leica CM right here on my reservation. I made a whole video on my reservation, and all the film shots were with this camera. But then it dawned on me, I was like, wait a second. Why don't I just use the other roll in the Pentax? Because then that's what, only 48 frames. That's way less daunting than 72 frames. So over the past week, I took down my listing to sell this, and I spent a week with it. I had way more fun with it than I was expecting. I still don't love it, so let's get into it. Also guys, I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out this film slicer. This is so you can archive your film. So I literally have 6 rolls I need to go through today. So right here, this is a full frame shot. So this is the equivalent of your digital full frame sensors. This is a standard roll, a 35mm film. Now let's grab the half frame. Now when it comes to the half frame, you can see that full frame image is split in half. So I'll bring this up one more time. This is the full frame image here. You can see how far it's going. And then our half frame shot, we're literally splitting that full frame image in half, hence why it's called the half frame. And if you're curious why they're calling it the Pentax 17, it's because 35mm film means full frame. What's half of 35? It's 17. So that's what we get right there. With all that said, let's finally start scanning this film and see if I messed it up. And 3 other rolls. We met on the battlefield, drink from the ladle by the moon. So the reason I started having way more fun with this was because when I loaded up that roll of 24 exposures, I was like, wait, why don't I do a little challenge here? What if I scan 2 images side by side and each image is a story? To me, that's very exciting. So that's exactly what I did with these 48 exposures on this roll of Kodak Gold here.
I crossed the mountains and the ocean for ya, just to see. I need that old love, and I'm swimming in the dark. I need that cool love, and I'm frozen from the start. Frozen from the start. Oh, straight lines to see, but it was dark inside and out. How long to hear your breath? How long to hear your sound? I so wish to understand this pain's solitude. Maybe my soul will bring me peace. Will it place me next to you? And a promise is a promise. Will you finish what you started? I was born to believe that the change in the leaves could really mean anything, love. I crossed the mountains and the ocean for ya, just to see. I need that old love, and I'm
So off the bat, I paid full price for this. I don't remember how much I paid for it. But I remember when I first took out of the box, I wasn't impressed at all with the build quality. It's very plasticky. Feels pretty cheap for what it is, honestly. Granted, I'm saying that coming from somebody who owns a lot of vintage film cameras and a lot of Leicas as well. Leicas are cream of the crop. I'll grab my MP just so you guys can see. This is my Leica MP here. This thing is made out of fully brass. Absolutely gorgeous, glossy black paint. So, it's getting patina over time. I put a python skin on there and everything. This thing's very heavy and dense. And that compared to this feels like a Toys R Us toy, honestly. Now, I must admit, I want to be pretty graceful and polite and kind to Pentax here for the fact that I want to encourage companies to start making more film cameras. We really need it. And we are just starting to get that re-entry into the marketplace. Even though this does feel incredibly cheap, it does feel decently well built. I haven't had any issues with it or quirks regarding the build quality. Now, where I'm starting to get kind of confused though, with all these cameras coming out, these new film cameras, is they're trying to, I feel like they're trying to do it all in a point and shoot factor, and it's not really jiving well. For instance, holding this, I kept forgetting to advance it, which isn't a ginormous issue, but it became kind of an annoyance. And I think it's just a combination of, the workflow of this camera. I'm not kind of expecting to advance it. Now, that's my own gripe. I think a lot of people who would probably buy this camera, more influencers and just people shooting day-to-day life, nobody like taking photography super serious. I do think they would probably like having a film advance on there because, it feels retro and it feels like a film camera, blah, blah, blah. It is a film camera. But even though we have this film advance on here, then we have a viewfinder that looks straight out of a point and shoot camera. Your frame guidelines, they do not readjust as you switch focus. So, your frames aren't going to be accurate all the time. From there, this is zone focusing only. So you can see there's different focusing zones on here depending on, what you're photographing. Now, the people who I think are most likely going to buy this, they're going to mess this up all the time. In my mind, for the price of this and this being a new camera, why didn't Pentax just put autofocus in this or an actual manual focusing or actual focusing patch in the viewfinder? That's what I don't get is like, they went out and made this cool half frame camera, but they did all these really low quality features to where I'm like, I don't think a pro would do this. I don't even think a hobbyist may not even enjoy this, but somebody who's just trying to get into the nostalgic atmosphere of shooting film and just enjoying life and blah, blah, blah. Circling back to the viewfinder, I really did not enjoy using this viewfinder. It's bigger than my Leica CM. My Leica CM viewfinder is tiny. Like that thing's a joke. And I paid way too much money for this, but I also love the way the images render on this setup here. And then the Lomo viewfinder feels just as small as the Leica CM, but both the Lomo and the Leica CM's viewfinders still feel higher quality, even though they feel like they're like half the size. I don't know. It's a very interesting camera. Again, I do recommend this safe. Like, my little sister doesn't do any type of photography, but she's out partying, doing bad kid shit. And I would highly recommend this to someone like her. Something plasticky, not incredibly expensive. She could throw in her purse, get dust all over it, and she's not gonna have too many hard feelings about it. But when she's ready to start shooting, it's gonna be good to go. Grandpa needs to put his prescriptions back on. So half frame photography in these days, I do think it could be a really fun format, purely because we have the Kodak Portra films, which are very clean. Personally, I still shoot a lot of Portra just because it is really fun to edit because you can manipulate it a lot. But seriously, I really hope that we get some new film emulsions at some point this year. I started to dabble in some of the rare companies that are making actual film that's not made by Kodak. And that's been really fun, but obviously, Kodak's kind of the GOAT when it comes to film quality. I think most people are gonna buy this. They're not gonna go for, high-end film look. They want more of that nostalgic vintage 90s, early 2000s, throwback, living back in another era. So I do think half frame photography is amazing for that because you're basically shooting a crop sensor. And we all know when it comes to digital crop sensors, you're going to have more noise that's going to be presented in all your files. It's just kind of a fact. I'm sure people aren't going to like that. And guess what? It's the same thing with film. Even if you're uploading to Instagram, if you're shooting smaller formats, you're going to see a little bit more grain compared if you're shooting like a large, 6x7 medium format film stock. So I do think a lot of people will enjoy using this who want that throwback look. And while we are mentioning Instagram, the viewfinder here is vertical. So half frame cameras tend to shoot vertically. I'm really excited to see what Pentax does next. Again, I think we should all be very supportive and, provide actual criticism and not just be negative Nancy's and haters. A lot of the time, this negative tonality in our community here, the negativity isn't criticism. The negativity is just being nasty. As these companies start making more film cameras, we need to give them actual criticism. So my criticism for Pentax, when it comes to the Pentax 17, I really don't have any criticism because I think it just is what it is. I think it's intended for a certain market and that market is not me. And so my critiques for it are purely because it's not the right tool for me. I do have a wish list. Pentax, if you were to do another camera, obviously a proper full frame camera would be amazing. A cool 40 or 35 millimeter fast aperture fixed lens would be amazing with an actual focus mechanism and not the zone focusing stuff, because there's not a real way to gauge accuracy. So my real wish list is just to make, you know, if they were to make a pro version of this, maybe I would pick it up again, even if it doubled the price. I think I'd be sick. I would probably buy one then. Just give us autofocus. I'd even be happier with that. An actual decent metal build quality, obviously. You guys can already tell all these things that I'm requesting here are gonna add on dollars onto that retail price. So we kind of get what we pay for, especially in this modern era where film is a privilege. You know, film is not a necessity these days anymore. So all these cameras, they are a privilege to be able to buy them. But we're talking about, you know, crazy financial times right now and the Cheeto Man ruining the world and everything. So, you know, these companies have a lot that they're going up against just to give us new options for film cameras. So that's why I'm trying to be very supportive here and give positive criticism and not just, you know, saying, oh, camera's cheap, blah, blah, blah. Again, I'm excited to see what you guys think down in the comments. Hope you enjoy this video. I really did have a lot of fun using this camera, though, you know, when it comes to my actual serious photography, I'm not picking this up. This would be fun to take out to bars if I had a nightlife and doing this and that. I don't really have that these days though. So yeah, that's it. All right, guys, appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoy this. I have so many film videos coming up. I'm incredibly excited. So I hope you guys are ready to join me on this film adventure. It's been about 6 or 7 years since I was shooting a lot of film. I used to shoot so much medium format film. So it feels really good to be back in the saddle of my negatives here. So yeah. But yeah, it really is fun, you know, using it in this manner with this challenge.